Hey guys, welcome to the video today. This is Alex, and today we're going to talk about the top 5 jobs that pay $140,000 starting. But with these jobs, you need a master's degree. So I did a video previously, top 5 highest paying jobs you can get with a bachelor degree, and that was set at $100,000. This one is set at $140,000, give or take about $10,000 or so, and these jobs will require a master's. So I will get into the top 5 jobs for this list. 3 of them will be tech, 2 of them will be healthcare. So we're going to get into that right now. Obviously, I make most of my videos about tech and college, so naturally my list is going to have mostly tech, but there is two healthcare jobs on the list. If you want to take a look at the bachelor degree I did, you can go to my channel and find that video. It should be one of the most recent 5 to 10 videos I did. So just click on that video if you want to see the top 5 jobs you can get with a bachelor degree. But anyways, let's get on with this video. I'm going to try to make it a shorter video today, definitely under 20 minutes, probably around 15 minutes. So stay tuned. So number 5, we will get into it right now. So number 5 on this list, guys, is UI UX designer, and this would be for a large company. It could be for FANG, but it doesn't have to be for FANG. So just any large company. For a medium company, this is probably not going to pay as much as advertised starting. But if you find a large company and you can get in right away as your first job, it can really start off over $130,000 a year. So you can get a UI UX designer job with just a bachelor degree, but you're not going to get this type of starting salary. So if you want the $140,000 starting salary, you're going to need a master's. You don't need a bachelor's and master's in UI UX design. One or the other is fine. Your master's can be UI UX design, or your bachelor's can be UI UX design. Personally, I would recommend your bachelor's be UI UX design because WGU has a degree you can accelerate. It is a degree you can do in about a year or less, and I would highly recommend doing that. So, and then you could do your master's in whatever field you want to do it in. I would recommend something tech. Maybe you can get away with an MBA, but I would probably do something tech, computer science, software engineering, maybe even data analytics. I'm not sure if that'd be a great combination, but like I said, something tech related would be probably a really good skill set to add to your resume and job prospects. So like I told you in a previous video, UI UX design / software engineer / product manager. There is crossover with all of those positions, honestly. So UX UI designer, it is good to know some technical skills. I would highly recommend adding a tech degree on top of it. Now, both your degrees can be UI UX design as well. It's just master's degrees in UI UX design. There's like no cheap ones. They're all like ridiculously expensive. I think Arizona State University has a user experience degree, which would cost you at least 30 grand. And then there is, I believe UC Irvine in California has a master's, which is hard to get into. And that one's like, I think 30 to 60 grand. I would have to check. But UI UX designer, great job. If you want a starting salary of 130, 140,000, you love designing things visually. You love the psychology behind it, the user experience. So if you love designing things visually, you love the psychology behind things visually, the psychology behind a user using something, and you also love talking to people, because UI UX designer is usually a pretty social job because you have to talk to a lot of people. So, you know, if you want a $140,000 starting job, you can get a bachelor's and master's with at least one of those degrees being UI UX design specifically, also called a user experience degree sometimes as well. So this degree also has a name called human-computer interaction. That is actually the very formal name for this degree, is human-computer interaction. And most big universities will call this degree human-computer interaction. Whereas the other thing it is called is user experience. It could be user experience or user experience design. So WGU, I believe, calls this degree user experience. ASU calls this degree user experience. So anyways, guys, this degree is great. It'll land you a pretty good job. It is number 5 on the list. Number 4 on this list, guys, is product manager at FANG. What is FANG? FANG is one of the big 5 companies such as Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, and Netflix. So those are the 5 companies that represent FANG. There are like a few companies right below FANG that are very, very similar, but those are the 5 companies that will start off a really high-end salary. And a lot of people try to get into those 5 companies because of the salary aspects. Likely you would need to live in person because they don't really hire remotely for like a first-time job. So you'd probably have to live in California or wherever these companies are located. So a product manager at these companies is going to require a master's degree if you don't have experience. Now, if you have like 3-4 years experience, you can get into these companies as a product manager with just a bachelor's, especially if it's a tech bachelor's. But what a lot of these companies do, especially Apple, but a lot of these companies will hire a product manager right out of college if you have a bachelor's in tech and a master's MBA or any master's of business, but preferably an MBA. So if you have those 2 combinations, very specifically those 2 combinations, bachelor's in tech like computer science or software engineering and a master's in MBA, it is possible to get into this field. So if you have your heart set on product management, like you want to do a little bit of technical work, but not that much, you'd rather focus on the business world, you'd rather focus on designing things like I said in the previous number 5, UI UX designer. You're going to design products. You're going to talk to the software engineers. You're going to talk to the UI UX designers. You're going to talk to stakeholders. You're going to have tons of meetings, things like that. Like product manager is like a little crossover of everything. A little bit of aspect of everything you're going to get as a product manager. So, think like I told you in a previous video, if you like Steve Jobs, if you liked what he did, designing all these innovative products, that'll be kind of what you do. Although, it's not going to be that innovative, right? For the most part, you're going to be designing the product with a lot of other people. And you're probably going to get told what to design. So it's not like you're just coming up with something fresh, fresh scratch, something new, unless it's like a very small company, a startup. And maybe you'll have a little more leeway in designing your own concept. But for the most part, the concept will probably be provided for you, and then you kind of design it. But anyway, product manager is a great job. At these FANG companies, you can start off 130, 140,000 with a bachelor's and master's combination with no experience. So product manager, great job. If you want to be a little bit technical, but not like overly technical like a software engineer, if you like talking to people every day, if you like meetings, if you like designing products, if you love designing things, just like I said in number 5, this would be a great job for you. The difference between number 5 is number 5, you're designing user interfaces, right? You're designing user interfaces for like apps, websites, and you're also digging into the psychology behind the user experience and what would make people click things the most. So a lot of psychology involved. You're designing user interfaces, whereas product managers, you're actually designing the actual product. So you're designing like everything. A lot more goes into it. So product manager, great job. Very high-end salary prospects. Number 3, guys, is family nurse practitioner. This is something you'll need a master's degree for. No way around that. So to get the license, you do need a master's. So basically, you would get a bachelor's in nursing, a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, your BSN, and then you would go to nurse practitioner school, which is a master's program. And so the BSN will take you 4 years. If you do it at Western Governors University, it'll actually only take 2.5 years. So I highly recommend to do it there if it is available in your state. Then you would do a nurse practitioner program, which is about 2 years. Some of them are 2.5 years, but most of them are right around 2 years. And like I said, you would have clinicals. You have to do all that type of stuff. It's kind of like nursing school again, but not as long, and like a lot of different aspects. So family nurse practitioner, it's like instead of bedside nursing, which is a really tough job. I mean, healthcare is full of tough jobs. They're all tough jobs. But, bedside nursing, like if you want to get away from that stress, a nurse practitioner is, the way I can best describe it is like, almost like a mini doctor if you want to like work in urgent care or a doctor office or even a hospital. You go see patients, you can prescribe medications. In some states, you need doctor oversight to prescribe medications, and in some states, nurse practitioners have full autonomy. So, it's like basically you do kind of do like a lot of doctor responsibilities. For example, if you guys go to the doctor, right? A lot of times, the person that comes in that white coat is not even a doctor. A lot of times, they are a nurse practitioner. So, nurse practitioner is a great job. California, but most states in general, but especially California, your first job, 140, 150,000, and most of the time you do want 2 years experience as an RN first, but now for the past several years, that's not exactly required. Like if you can find a new grad nurse practitioner position without ever working as a RN, a lot of times those are available now. So personally, I believe that you don't need RN experience. It is helpful for sure, but I feel like RN and nurse practitioner are two wildly different jobs. So obviously RN will help you, but at the same time, I think that starting out as a nurse practitioner is fine. And I'm usually pretty conservative about these type of things. So I think it would be fine. I think nurse practitioner is a fantastic job, and it's a much cheaper option than what I'm going to say next on this list, number 2. So this is a much cheaper option because you go to nursing school, you can find cheaper nursing schools, be out of pocket less than $30,000. And then nurse practitioner school, you can find ones that will cost also less than like $20,000. So you can definitely get this degree for less than $50,000 for sure if you find the right school. Maybe even way less than that, like maybe $30,000 total out of pocket if you find 2 very affordable schools. So it's a very affordable option. If you want to start off $140,000, $150,000, no experience, this is a great master's degree to have. It's a great job, great career, great job security. So healthcare has way more job security than tech. You'll always have a job. So you'll always have a job. People will always be hiring. Family nurse practitioner is hiring like hotcakes for new grads all the time. So number 2 on this list, guys, is physician assistant. It's a job I thought about doing back in the day. Basically, physician assistant, you can get in with any bachelor's degree, music, communications, anything. Obviously, if you have a science bachelor's, you probably get more of a chance of getting into one of these schools because there's not a lot of physician assistant schools across the nation. More and more are popping up, but there's not a whole lot of them. The thing is, this is very similar to number 3. It's all the same job responsibilities. Basically, you can be like a mini doctor, work in a doctor office, a hospital, urgent care. You can prescribe medications. You'll see the patient instead of a doctor. Like basically the person that comes to see you, the patient, instead of actually seeing like a medical doctor, they can just see a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner. You'll decide what's wrong with them, what symptoms they're having. Basically it's like a doctor office visit, right? But you're the one doing it and not a medical doctor. So a physician assistant is a fantastic career, absolutely fantastic career. The only issue compared to number 3 is expense. You're not going to find a physician assistant school that is usually under $100,000. It's also, from what I've heard, I hope nobody takes offense to this, it's much harder than nurse practitioner school. So very rigorous. It's like medical school, but 2.5 years. So very, very rigorous. Another thing, it's longer. It's longer than nurse practitioner school. It's about 6 months longer. So 2.5 to 2.7 years. It is like the same difficulty as medical school, I've heard, but it's basically less time, right? Like medical school is 4 years. So you're getting away with 2.5 to 2.7 years, although it's like the same rigor. So you're not going to learn as much as medical school, right? Because that's an extra year, but you basically are doing the same rigor, the same difficulty. Like it's very difficult. PA school is no joke. So Also very expensive, like I said, 100,000, but it's a great job. 140, 150,000 starting, and some start out higher than that, like 160, 170. And also with physician assistant, the cool thing about this one compared to nurse practitioner is there is specialties. Like you can specialize in physician assistant surgery. You can specialize in physician assistant dermatology, which I think the specializations actually, some of them pay a lot more. Like physician assistant specializing in dermatology or surgery, like one of those two, like a few years into your job, like you can make well over like $230,000, like well over that. So it's a really good job, really good career. If you don't mind going into debt, it's a fantastic, fantastic career. Great job security. Always hiring. Like I said, very, very good job security. So number one on this list is software engineer, but in a FANG company. So Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Netflix. So if you can land your first job at these companies, then you will definitely be looking probably at $160,000 starting. So getting into one of these companies as your first job is very difficult, but these companies do hire new grads. Believe it or not, FANG does hire new grads if you have a bachelor's and master's. Usually these bachelor's and master's have to be one of two degrees, computer science or software engineering. It doesn't matter usually which one. There might be a slight preference to computer science, like at least one of them being computer science for these big FANG companies. So like if you have a bachelor's and a master's in software engineering, it might be a little more difficult, but for the most part, either of those degrees will work. And you're not going to get hired in FANG as a new grad with just a bachelor's, maybe way back in the day. But they do hire, like if you have a bachelor's and a master's in one of these two degrees, let's say you have a bachelor's in computer science, a master's in computer science. Let's say you have a bachelor's in software engineering and a master's in computer science. They will absolutely 100% give you a look. They do hire new grads. All 5 of these companies will hire new grads. I think the one that might be the most anti-new grad would probably be Apple, but they all hire new grads. So 160,000, I think, is what these new grads usually start off their first job. And you can get into FANG with just a bachelor's. With just a computer science or software engineering bachelor's, you can get into FANG as a software engineer, but one, you're going to need 2 to 3 years experience, probably at least 3 years at a different company. And you're going to start off probably even less. So you might start off 140, 150,000 with your first FANG job with just a bachelor's, even after a couple of years experience. Whereas a new grad with that master's degree, it gives them a nice little bonus. Like they pay a little extra. Like you said, you probably start off 160,000. So very good first job. If you want to work in FANG, if you really want to start off, like if you really want to aim for the top company right away, then you want to get your bachelor's and master's, computer science or software engineering. Make sure you practice leak code a lot because these FANG companies will make you solve multiple leak code problems. So it's definitely possible if you really, really want to go to school, get your master's out of the way, aim for the big companies right away instead of the smaller ones. It is very possible to start off 160, 170,000 right off the bat, your first job. Very possible. So, and I do think the economy is going to return to normal. Economies go in cycles, like I've said in a different video. What goes up must go down. What goes down must go up. I do think there'll be another tech hiring spree sooner rather than later. We've been in a bear market for the past few years, I feel like. But like I said, I think we'll eventually go into a bull market. We're not going to stay in a bear market forever. So you'll eventually see a bull market and a hiring spree. And like I said, these companies will pay, when they're on a hiring spree, they're very generous with their pay. And you'll see, like I said, $160,000 starting if you want to get into FANG right away. So it would be difficult to get into FANG right away. It's not for everybody. It's very hard to get in as your first job. So if you want to start off a small or medium company with just a bachelor's, get your master's later in life, get into FANG with just a bachelor's and some experience, you can take that route too. And I would probably suggest that route, honestly. Like, go work for a smaller to medium company with just your bachelor's, gain some experience before you work for FANG, because FANG is very hard to work for and it's very hard to get into. But if you really do want to shoot for the moon right away, these FANG companies, minus usually Apple, do hire entry-level software engineers with a master's degree. So anyways, guys, that'll be the video for today. Sorry, it went on a little longer than expected, so I'll wrap it up very quick here. Please like, subscribe, or comment if I helped you in any way, if you liked this video in any way. When you do that, it sends the video to somebody's homepage that has never heard of my channel, which I really do appreciate, and it helps the channel grow. So thank you for that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have an absolute wonderful day. Thank you very, very much.